We missed the most important field, and that is within a meal. Within a meal, we want to be able to have multiple recipes that make up that meal. So, in fact, this meal, Kraft Dinner with bacon, and some other stuff, and some other recipes, there's a many-to-many relationship between a meal and a recipe and recipes. So a recipe can belong to many meals, and a meal can have many recipes. So all that remains to be sort of implemented here is a field for all the recipes that are part of this meal. And we have a special form helper for that, which I'm going to prepare off screen. And then, so it's the recipe IDs. So we want a field that can select many recipe IDs. And the options that are available are going to be from the team, like from the family. It's going to be their recipes. And then for each recipe, we want the name of the recipe and the recipe ID. And that should be it. So let me show you what that looks like. I'll do my copy pasta. Let's close all these videos. Or all these files, sorry. So we want the meal form. In the meal form, in addition to the name of the field, we want to add a has many through field. And the has many through, the attribute is recipes IDs. And the options are all the recipes that our family account has configured. So for this family's recipes, grab the recipe and use the recipe name as the label and the recipe ID as the key. And that's it. Let's see if this works. It does. Recipe IDs. We want to update the label to be now. Kraft Dinner with bacon and broccoli. Did I spell that right? I think I did. So we'll call this meal Kraft Dinner with broccoli. And importantly, when we go to look at this meal, we want to see not just the name of the meal, but we also want to see which recipes are part of this meal. So in the meal show, I'm going to, there's two ways that we could do this. We could add a table. In fact, let's do it that way. We will add a table similar to what we have on other show. So for example, on the, where's an example where we have a recipe that has many recipe ingredients. So we'll go into the recipe show. And we'll add so we want to show which recipes are part of this meal. Let's see what happens. Oh, we'll go back. So now when we reload, we have the meal details, and it also has the recipes that are part of this meal. But it's not showing anybody any. So I'm not sure why that is. Oh, I know why it is. When we edited this meal and selected craft dinner with bacon, when we update the meal controller isn't allowing us to set that ID from the field or from the form. So we need to be able to save recipe IDs. So we add that to the trusted parameters, strong params. And now when I update the meal, you'll see that the recipes, oh, it didn't work. Wait a minute. Edit. Still not working. So what's the problem here? Let's debug this together. Oh, I think I know what this is. So, all right, let's try. I'm going to do arrays in the browser. We could do a debugger as well. All right, so something in the form. Oh, it's not coming. Oh. I remember. This is an array. So we have to say, we'll say recipe IDs. This is the proper syntax. Ha. All right. Sorry if that was so painful. And we'll see it comes up here now. Yeah. So here we go. We can get rid of this debug statement. Now the recipe will show up. There we go. So now there's an issue here. We don't actually want to be able to add recipes to the meal this way. It's not really the, we don't want to add recipes directly to a meal. That's not really the point. And in fact, it wouldn't even get associated with the meal by default. So that's really weird. There isn't even, I don't think we have standardized this within, so recipe partial. If you go in the recipe partial, it doesn't have any conditional here, but what I do is if hide add, or unless hide add, and then up at the top, just almost make it like a parameter for the partial. So by default, it doesn't hide add. But on this one here, it will hide the add. I don't know what that is all about. Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. All right, so now we can look at the meal details, and the recipes for that meal are there. They're included, but you edit them here. Now, I'm going to, it's a little weird. because now if we go here and then click back, it doesn't go back to the place where it came from. There are some workflow issues here that we'll want to maybe improve or polish or whatever, but that's all the polish. Like, that's easy stuff to do on. So here we go. We've got this, but this is awesome. Now, this doesn't even look as awesome as it actually is because we only have one recipe. So if we go back to and add a new recipe, and I say like broccoli, it serves 4. The description is like steamed here. Steam the broccoli and then eat it. Okay, so create that recipe. And then for that recipe, let's pretend they came in afterwards, looked at it, and they're like, oh, okay, this recipe, wait a minute, recipe ingredients, right? So recipe ingredient, oh no. Why do we still have arrays in here? Because we never removed it when we fixed that error. So the ingredient is supposed to be broccoli. We'll have to figure out a way to make this work better. So say we'll open that up in a new window. We'll add broccoli. Whoops, misspelled it. It's a vegetable. Vegetables we already get them at Trader Joe's, so I don't have to specify that. Now, in this page, I can say for this recipe ingredient, it's broccoli. The measurement is 1 cup. There. All right, so it's there anyway, whatever. But we have another recipe. Sorry, actually, that was the point. I didn't even have to add the ingredient. Why did I go down that rabbit hole? But now on our meal, we can edit this meal, and look, we can add steamed broccoli as well. It's pretty cool. So now we have the recipes for this meal. If we go back, we can say, hey, in the index view for that recipe, so meal, I'm going to add a new column. And we'll just do like that. You could make it a link or whatever for all those things. Now, recipes don't have that little shim that we have for like meal. Oh, meal doesn't either. How does meal get a name? Where did we define that? There we go. There we go. Kraft dinner with bacon, steamed broccoli. Sweet. We are good to go. And again, you could make these links to the individual resources or whatever you want to do. But that's it. Basically, we have a little personal database now. Everything's out of order. There's a lot of polish that can happen here, but we created a personal database, and now I can build logic around this data. So now I can create automations where, hey, you added a recipe, a meal plan gets automatically created where you added a recipe and set up a meal that you like making, and now your meal plans can automatically include those meals, and then those meals, that meal plan can generate a shopping list, which we haven't gotten to yet, but it can create a shopping list from the list of ingredients for your recipes. Like there's a lot of automation that we can do here. And then the other automation is, hey, you added a recipe and we had somebody go and figure out what the ingredients were and document them. And then you can tell us if there's a particular store you like to get those ingredients at. And then we can create 3 shopping lists, one for each of the stores. And then potentially we can send it off to somebody. Maybe we integrate with Instacart, or maybe you just specify, who your personal shopper is. If you can, pay somebody to do that for you, like you find a freelancer on Craigslist or something like that. Anyway, this is a solid start, and I will do my best to continue recording as I keep working on this app. But thanks for following along so far. Thanks.